Alright guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The Los Angeles Thieves play again today, and after big drama was emerging last weekend when Simp made some certain statements about the status of Ghosty, Nadeshot himself has actually responded to the matter and says, like, he doesn't care what Ghosty get up to. If he's playing well, that is all that matters at the end of the day. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Some interesting games today. Certainly that is the case tomorrow. I know there's been lots of talk as well about the map pool lately here in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. It's not exactly the greatest. Hopefully next year's game will live up to more expectations on that front, because to be fair, Trag is finally back in business. It's been quite some time since I've had a Trag game. It's actually shocking to me that in the entire history of the CDL for the last 5 years, we've had one Trag game, and it wasn't even one of the great classic Trag games. It is what it is. But here are the boys playing COD Mobile on Hacienda. Like, I mean, come on, you got to be a bit jealous when you see stuff like this, in my opinion. There was also this that I just wanted to note for you guys. The flank has been a bit of a topic for debate over the last couple of days, certainly last weekends when there was that, like, you know, episode after the Tron's OpTic series and X was going up on the main stage, you know how it is, and Octane afterwards said, like, he felt like Aix was just kind of really showing some effect, and it was at least frustrating Octane that he was like, okay, whatever, I can't do anything here, these guys are just going to yap on, and it is what it is. So Zoom actually said at Ben the other day now, you're not making a meeting today over what's some golf, we've got lots of things to talk about, basically, things are changing around here, so I don't know, every so often this seems to happen when there'll be great episodes of the flank, and there'll be 1 or 2 episodes that people are like, damn, come on, like, things maybe need to change for the sake of making it more watchable, I don't know. And then they have some discussions about it, try and come to some sort of resolution, and then, I don't know, things go back to normal anyway over due course as well. There was also this going around, and this to me does, like, I'm not really going to want to mention the whole superstar debate again, but I guess given we talked about the flank and that whole drama, we kind of have to. Shotzzy as an individual player is obviously spectacular. I mean, the shots he get there were just ridiculous. But at the same time, he's also arguably the face of the league right now. Obviously, the face of the league is always going to be somebody on OpTic. Ever since Scump retired, you can argue it's been Shotzzy from the content that he makes outside of the scene, the personality that he is. It's either him or Dashy, really, and I'd say that Shotzzy probably fits the bill more so. Now, I think you see that a little bit in some of these discussions. Even Holly, so of course, wife to Karma, whose daughter Bella must be like 10 years old now, right, which is crazy to me because it was back in the COD Ghost days, right, when there was a bit of friction between the Evil Geniuses guys, or maybe it was early Advanced Warfare. She must be 9 or 10 now, which is wild to me. But she says to Holly here, can we please play a private match, any game mode on Terminal? I learned something from Shotzzy, like watching his content or whatever. Me and Bella got to run ranked one of these days. So I thought that was a really kind of cool, wholesome moment, to be fair. I also did want to mention, though, speaking of OpTic, there was a rumor going around yesterday that apparently Shotzzy had said on stream that their scrims haven't been quite going to plan because Kenny's been unwell. I don't know exactly what's going on here. We debated it last night on the pre-show before the matches because, you know, have they been scrimming the last few days? Have they not scrimmed the last couple of days? I don't know. But the feeling is that OpTic haven't got the practice they necessarily wanted this week, which isn't really ideal. Then again, it's a tough one, right, if you're a team, because if your player is unwell, then sure, maybe you don't want to practice because that player's unwell, they need to rest and everything, but then again, you're missing out a couple of days of practice, and could they still, like, power through and play not at 100%, but maybe, you know, to some degree, maybe, but at the same time, it's like, if you're not going to practice 100%, if everyone's not fully locked in, maybe it's not even worth it, or you just go for, like, 1 scrim set rather than 2, I don't know, but the feeling is that OpTic might not have had the best practice over the last few days compared to what they were looking for, and of course, after their matchup tomorrow up against the Subliners, they then will have Monday, then they'll fly out to Miami Tuesday, I'm guessing, or whatever it'll be. So maybe they'll practice 1 more day, then they're out to Miami. So the run-up to the major might not have been as ideal for OpTic as they were looking for. I guess we'll see if that reflects in their performance at all tomorrow, because the Subliners are, I would say, going to be the hardest team they've played so far. Yes, Toronto are the Major 1 champions, but they were looking a bit vulnerable. Subliners have not looked vulnerable really at all this stage. They beat FaZe, of course. So it's going to be a great matchup on paper regardless. Also, speaking of Ultra, though, I wanted to mention this, as Caller Delco points out. These are their most recent Ultra Search and Destroy performances. So the margin of victory, they lost their first search of the season. They then went on a ridiculous Search and Destroy run where they were winning searches consistently. I mean, this is pretty absurd, right? They're not winning these searches by 2 or 1 rounds. They're winning these searches by 5, 4, 3 rounds, like dominating Search and Destroys. series. 6-0ing teams like the Minnesota Rocket, as they did in the Game 5 there in the series they played, but then 6-0'd by Vegas, 6-0'd by OpTic, 6-1'd by OpTic. So their last few series, there's definitely been a downward trajectory here, right? And whether they can get back to this type of level, that is another question entirely. Do want to speak quickly on the Surge, because we saw a tweet from Nastie yesterday that he said that he was basically checked out. He deleted that one, but he did say this: gotta stay composed, focus on being better, GG's Legion. And this guy Dopamine says, get Illy back in the game. But Nastie's like, look, I don't control it. I don't control these roster changes. I would like to put him back in, I guess is the implication there. But that's not the case. And then he says, got to be better. So, look, I hope that Nastie's can figure this whole thing out. But clearly, from like a mentality perspective, he's not been in the right space for the last couple of years now. It affects his performance on Gorillas. It's affecting his performance on Surge. But if they were to like get rid of Nastie's and make a change in that role, there was some discussion last night that the comms would be, I mean, what are you going to do from a communication perspective, right? At least Nastie's kind of knows what's going on, whereas the other guys maybe don't. I don't know. A tricky one, to say the very least. But we've also got to talk about the Los Angeles Thieves, because they started the season off bad. They have made the change for Nastie. I think Nastie's actually played really well. If you look at his numbers, it doesn't necessarily indicate that from a KD side, but if you watch his arrow on the minimap, I think he's making a lot of right plays. I think he does make Afro more comfortable as well. Kremp's done a good job, and Ghosty has been really good, to be honest, from start to the present day of the season. Thieves actually got their second ever win against Gorillas last night. Pretty ridiculous stat for the CDL. But Nadeshot himself was not even watching the game, right? I don't blame him. It wasn't a great game. He wanted to stay on Twitch playing his, like, I don't even know what this game is, World of Warships or something, I'm guessing. But he was deciding to watch this over watching his own team play. And yeah, fair enough, don't blame him. They got a very clean victory in the end, 3-1. However, today becomes more of a challenge, because today they play up against the Trons Ultra, the Major 1 champions. A very interesting series, though, because Ultra on a 2-loss streak. Thieves will feel, now they're 4-2, like they have a pretty decent chance to actually get some serious results in this series. Afro played well. Ghosty, again, though, most damage in the lobby. And this is where the debate came back to this that went out the other day. So we know that Simp, this guy, you know, he'll yap about everything he wants. He's not afraid to talk about literally anything under the sun right now, and he doesn't seem scared to talk about any topic that may or may not be controversial. So the other week, really, is 6 days or so ago, Simp made the comment on Zoomer's stream that Ghosty is on that Papania pack before the matches begin. And there was some debate about why he would even link this in the first place. And, you know, therefore there was some reaction to it. People were wondering, okay, what does Nadeshot think about this? What's his perspective as the team owner? Look, it's no problem out there in LA, out there in California. Ghosty can do what he wants. I guess the question would be, does the organization feel a certain way about it? Does the league feel a certain way about it, right? So I think it was expected that Nadeshot might give some take on this at some point. So anyway, Nadeshot, that's Dashy. And then this guy Carl in the reply says, one of your player at Ghosty, that's also not his Twitter at, is playing the official CDL match while high. Address this issue before, and this I thought was funny really from this guy, but he adds Daniel's site, adds Spinner's Fence, adds the COD League before they find out. And Nadeshot goes on to say, I have no idea if he is, but that man has been slamming all year. I got half a mind to go smoke that chronic with him. Nobody likes a narc. Kick rocks, pal. So sensational tweet really here from Nadeshot. One of the best I think I've seen so far this year. Man, Nade is too funny. And I know there's so many clips. Every day there's a couple of clips, I think, at least 1 or 2 clips that I end up saving just to maybe throw at the end of a video. You guys know I've been doing that lately because it's a lot of good fun. And here he goes again. So look, Nadeshot has no issue with it. Doesn't know if he is or not. But at the end of the day, whatever. The guy's playing well. And, you know, as long as Spinner Spence and the boys don't find out about it, then it's absolutely fine. And look, at the end of the day, it's not exactly like it's a performance-enhancing thing to do. So, like, I don't have an issue with it. Nadeshot doesn't have an issue with it. Hopefully we can move on. But, like, Simp was still yapping yesterday. I thought it was funny, right? This guy, he was in the chat talking all sorts about the way the game should be played. Then he joined up to the lobby and said all sorts of other things. Yeah, just entertaining characters we've got in the CDL at the moment. We've got plenty else to discuss, though, in terms of the matches for today. Just wanted to mention this from Attach, from Brian Sats on Attach. His highest ever KD in a qualifier stage was Vanguard Stage 3 at 1.26. He currently has a 1.23, and the stage is about to end, so this will go down as at least his second highest. If he has a monster performance in his final series, he might be able to take the #1 spot off himself. But still, MW3 Stage 2, he's got a 1.23 so far, and they play again today. So these are the 3 matches of today. I guess we should look at the standings here as well to just figure out, okay, what these all mean. Because as it stands, Subliners at 60, OpTic at 60, FaZe at 50, Ultra at 40, Legion now at 40, as are Thieves. So that is 6 teams locked into the winners bracket, no problem at all. And it's actually really interesting at the top here, right? If Thieves lose to Ultra tonight, then probably it's going to be pretty expected, right? Because even if Legion go 5-2 with a victory today, they would still lose their head-to-head with Ultra at 5-2 because Ultra beat them in their head-to-head match that they played earlier in the stage, right? So I'm guessing that's how it would go. But if Thieves were to beat Ultra, then Ultra would legitimately end up here potentially the 6th seed, right? Because Ultra would be 4-3. Vegas would potentially move above them if they beat Carolina. Thieves would move above them at 5-2. So Ultra would end up the 6th seed if Vegas win today and Thieves win today. And if Ultra are the 6th seed, guess who they play round 1? It's quite possibly going to be FaZe. So that is a situation that Ultra can absolutely not afford to happen, right? Like, Ultra need to win tonight against Thieves to secure 5-2 at least, so that they at least get against one of those two teams again in the first round. Because Ultra, we know they've messed around with their map pool. They've done other things over the last couple of weeks against FaZe, against OpTic. They've not taken those series that seriously. They're feeling as well, when we get to LAN, it's going to be different. But if you're playing FaZe round 1, that's a problem. So I think they really need to lock in tonight, Toronto, and get that victory. They should be favoured to do it. I think they will do it. Thieves Search and Destroy looked pretty suspect yesterday, but I think that's a really interesting series, Ultra Thieves, to close out the day. Gorillas, of course, are dusted. Surge are dusted as well. I think there's no chance they can make it now based on their map count. Miami possibly still can if they 3-0 Rocker. I think it might be possible for a 2-5 team to make it if they 3-0 Rocker, have a decent map count, and then, of course, you know, Rocker wouldn't make it as a result. So there's some interesting possibilities here, but realistically speaking, Ravens, they need to get the victory as well to lock up themselves, or even just take it to the distance, and they might be enough at 2-5. So it's pretty interesting how this is all developing out here, but these are the games. So Vegas versus Ravens. Again, Vegas should be favourites for this series. They played well yesterday. Ravens got slammed really by Heretics in 4 last week. It's like with Surge, when you watch them play, it doesn't feel like they want to be there. Sometimes it's the same thing you get with Ravens, the feeling you get at least when they play online. So I've got Legion taking the dub here, moving to 5-2. Then though, Rocker Heretics, massively important series. My feeling on this is that it's another Rocker Heartbreaker Game 5 defeat, because Heretics looked good last week. Maybe they've turned a corner to some extent. I don't think Heretics will get the clean win they need, but I think that, let's say Heretics lose map 1, they'll think, well, we can't make it now because of the map count. So let's just try and absolutely make sure Rocker don't make it either by beating them here. So I'm giving Heretics the benefit of the doubt on this one, but that to me is like actually a pretty coin toss series as it stands. And then Ultra Thieves. This is going to be more interesting than people think, I imagine. But I'm going to take Ultra in a Game 5. Thieves' search yesterday did not impress me, so I think Toronto will lock in. They'll get the job done in 5, and they'll secure that they don't have to play FaZe round 1. But if they don't, then man, that's going to be very interesting. So very much interested in your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
LAT's playing right now? Fuck that. I got war. I got my own war in my hands. Tell them to win, or don't come home. We're both fighting our own battles, and I think mine might be more important right now. Chad, I've never thought about it before, but, like, I've never fucked my sister, and that's the only thing that LaRue has done that I haven't. So maybe if I bark up the family tree here, maybe I'll start getting nukes. I'm not sure. It's a working theory. Yeah,